and we gently just bring that up to the ball so it takes on all the flavour. I've got butter that I've melted here, corn flour. Now, all these recipes, of course, are on the website. So jump
or in the
on
book. You normally say in the book.
or in the book, yeah.
Which we normally say is available at Borders, but not anymore. It's terrible, isn't it?
Yeah. Gary and I were racing around to all the Borders collecting our books. Please don't throw them out.
There's a bipping coming from somewhere.
There
Where's
is a
the
beeping. I'm not sure.
Andrew, there's a bipping somewhere.
Everyone, this is Andrew. Big round of applause. He's the chef that makes it all happen in the background.
He does all the work, doesn't he?
He does all the work.
We just wander in and ask somebody to cook us breakfast.
Okay, so basically what I'm doing here is toasting the flour gently. What I want to end up with is sort of the smell of shortbread biscuit, okay? And you'll see that will start to turn white in colour.
Yeah, but people, because when you cook a roux like this, people don't know when to then add the milk, and you see this little white tinge, starting to build around the edge of the roux, and that's when you know when to chuck it in. All right.
Okay, if I could get you, Gary, to help me here.
So what you've explained what's in here?
Yep, I've explained what I've got in there.
So we add that a little bit at a time.
Yep.
And then stir to incorporate. And what's important when you're making a white sauce is not so much the physical action, so you don't need a whisk, but it's about adding a little of the hot milk at a time and allowing the heat to do its job, which bursts the starch molecules, and then that allows the milk to be incorporated into the roux. So it's that little beating motion at the end and that little burst of heat that smooths it out in between each addition of milk. So that's the important bit. All right?
We'll work all right together, eh?
Oh, no, but we're only doing one dish.
Oh, yeah.
It's a bit different on service, isn't it? I went down to the restaurant on Saturday night, and I wish I hadn't. 150 people, and I should have people to do that for me. But it was hard work. Do you still work on the pans, George?
I do, Gary. You rang me at midnight, remember, on Saturday?
Well, you asked me to pop over for a beer.
Yeah, but I already got home.
You're in bed, having a little sleep.
I was about to put my Snuggies on.
You got a Snuggie?
Got to have a Snuggie. And you know what? I've just discovered Ugg boots at home.
No!
Yeah, I love them.
So you wear a Snuggie and Ugg boots at home?
Ugg boots at home. I mean, I'd never walk outside the house with them because I'll probably get bashed.
That'd be a great pap shot, wouldn't it? George bending over outside his front door to pick up the paper in his Snuggie and his Ugg boots. I can't see it. Can't see it. That's beautiful. So little addition of milk each time.
Yep,
and then how long do you have to cook that out for?
Not long at all. Not long at all. And just as soon as it thickens up, and I reckon
we got a little bit more.
A little bit more. I reckon that's plenty.
Good stuff.
Okay, and you can see, at the end of the day, we give you a recipe, but it's all about, feeling it yourself, making sure it's nice and thick. And then what we're going to do is just incorporate in there some cheese. Now, I've got a really delicious cheese here called Graviera.
You're not going to be able to ask for that at the deli because I can't say it either. Just the Greek hard cheese that George uses.
Yeah.
That normally gets you. Your mum said it on the show the other day.
Yeah, she did.
Graviera. Graviera.
Just use Parmesan, don't worry about it.
That's the stuff that you use for what we think is saganaki, right? Which is the fried cheese.
Yep.
And until recently, I always thought saganaki was actually the fried cheese dish.
No.
But it's not, is it?
Yeah, no, it's the frying pan that you cook the fish in, and then from there you take the fish out and cook with all the residual oil and sort of fats in there. You cook cheese and bits of bread and that.
Spoon of garlic and about a teaspoon of ginger. You can put a little bit more in, it doesn't matter. And the recipe's not that precise. It's just really about getting the fragrance from those ingredients. And then what I have here is some black beans. So if you think of beef and black bean, I've just got some salted black beans, which you buy at the Asian supermarket, and just crush them. So you salt them first, soak them first, and then crush them. And what the soaking does is just smell that, it's beautiful.
I love that.
It takes away that saltiness. And then we pop those into the oil as well, and we cook those ingredients until they start to become fragrant, which just takes about 30 seconds or so. Add a bit of chili, a little bit more for George. Right, because he loves a bit of chili, don't you, George?
Love it.
Love it. And you can put in some wasabi, or in this case, this is a little bit of Japanese mustard powder. And then I've got about a tablespoon of sugar. So once you've got the fragrance in the pan, the sugar is now used to give you a sweet and sour flavour, all right, which is really delicious with the ginger and the garlic. And that smells beautiful, right?
That smells wonderful.
So then with the sweetness goes some acidity. You can use lime juice, or in this case, coconut vinegar. And then just to finish it off, just a little dash of sesame oil, which is like a seasoning. Gives you that little sort of hit from the sesame oil. And then last but not least is some shredded spring onions. And that's just as you take the pan off, you just put them in right at the end, and it gives you some crunch. Really simple. If you don't put the spring onions in, you can pop it in a jar and put it in the fridge, and it'll last a week or so. And that is delicious over barbecued fish. Doesn't have to be over an oyster. Or chicken,
Even
to be
chicken,
honest.
I was just going to say, that would be delicious on chicken.
So what I'd like you to do, George, is just spoon
Some of that over.
that over there.
Yep.
And while you're doing that, I'll just show you how to pop an oyster. So if you're going to open an oyster, what you need is an oyster knife, right? Which is a little blade like that. It's got a really sharp point on it. And it is not about force. It is about, you know, it's only a tiny little animal in there. It's about finding the hinge or a point on the side of the oyster that you can just pop that little knife into. And then it's about wiggling it until you can feel it almost just pop, all right? And once you get that little angle on it, you can then you'll feel it almost pop. And then it's now a case of, because you've released that muscle inside there, you can just pop the lid off. And if you can see all that juice in there, that's what you want. That's what you love if you love oysters. And if you order them opened, you won't get that. Do you want it, or shall I have it?
No, you have it. It's good aphrodisiac, isn't it?
Oh. It is. It's lovely.
Oh, gosh.
We've been working together for too long, haven't we? Right. So George is doing a little bit of daikon radish. We're just going to put on the top, and that will give it some crunch, and then some herbs. And then I need a volunteer to come up and eat one. No, somebody who doesn't like oysters.
Someone that doesn't like... No, someone that's never eaten an oyster because they're scared of them.
There's a couple. You go.
Don't lie, because I will check if you've eaten an oyster before.